Hello, welcome to the final 3 of RBY OU Invitational 6, so round number 9. Kaz and Genesis7 are facing off in a best of 5. The winner is playing Lusch in the grand finals, which means he has to beat Lusch twice in order to earn the final victory. That would be the first time in the history of the RBY OU Invitational. Game 1, Jinx puts Alakazam to sleep twice. Then, on turn 6, Kaz has to switch out. Alakazam and Starmie trade paralysis, so right now it looks like both leads will be fodder. Snorlax into Psychic. Kaz goes Cloyster, which is paraslammed immediately. Alakazam into Surf. Genesis doesn't go Snorlax at first, so he uses Surf, then he goes Snorlax. Kaz goes Cloyster. He uses Rest, then Genesis goes Exeggutor, and Egg is now faster than Cloyster. Middle ground play for Genesis, Psychic, then back to Starmie, so Genesis lost momentum. He thinks Surf Starmie can take on Alakazam, but Cloyster is now healthy and Starmie vs Alakazam is going to help Cloyster. Anyway, eventually Genesis7 emerges out of the mud. Snorlax against Alakazam. So Snorlax attacks Cloyster, Rest. Exeggutor again, so same cycle. Turn 43, no Thunder Wave, Seismic Toss by Kaz. Starmie comes in and this time Kaz goes Zapdos on predicted recover. Genesis has Jolteon, and Kaz didn't feel like clicking Thunder Wave predicting Chansey, so now Jolteon apparently has the upper hand. Genesis goes for damage, crit Thunderbolt, Kaz uses Thunder Wave, so now Cloyster, Zapdos and Tauros are very dangerous. In spite of facing their respective arch rivals, Starmie and Jolteon. Kaz goes Jinx, Jolteon doesn't move, so Jinx vs Starmie. Kaz doesn't want to start trading pieces, so he retreats Jinx and then he uses Recover with Alakazam. So, once again Snorlax vs Cloyster. Clamp, then free switch to Zapdos as Genesis goes Starmie. So Kaz is controlling the pace of the game. Jolteon comes in, Kaz sacrifices Jinx and Genesis will sacrifice Alakazam. So Tauros vs Exeggutor. Genesis uses Psychic, which is a good play only if Kaz goes Zapdos, and it's okay into Alakazam. I think Genesis tended to commit to either Sleep Powder or Explosion. This way Tauros takes out Exeggutor, resulting in Snorlax vs Alakazam. Kaz sacrifices Zapdos, catching Self-Destruct. Then Snorlax vs Tauros, turn 70. Kaz has Hyper Beam, trying to put Tauros in Body Slam range. Genesis sacrifices Jolteon instead. Kaz lets Alakazam go down so he can enter the endgame. Snorlax uses Hyper Beam, then Cloyster. Kaz takes a calculated risk with Clamp instead of Explosion. That would put him in trouble only if Clamp misses, and then he's fully paralyzed against Recover the very next turn. Clamp doesn't miss. Tauros comes in, Tauros vs Starmie. Tauros is in a sweeping position, it misses, and all of a sudden it's anyone's game, and Cloyster becomes the win condition for Kaz. Turn 94, Genesis uses Blizzard instead of Surf. He misses, then Starmie is paralyzed, and this Starmie was not going to beat Cloyster anyway. Kaz sweeps, good game and deserved victory. Genesis was behind and he needed to make a play at some point, but he never did. Game 2, Zapdos vs Exeggutor, Genesis goes Rhydon. Kaz stays in predicting a double switch. Rock Slide hits hard. Drill Peck, trade for Body Slam. Awkward moment, and Genesis paraslams Exeggutor. Then he attacks again with Rock Slide. Alakazam comes in as Sleep Powder misses. Genesis attacks with Seismic Toss. Kaz is fully paralyzed. Next, Kaz goes Snorlax and Genesis pulls back. Crit Body Slam. Cloyster comes in as Snorlax uses Reflect. So a little bit of breathing for Kaz. Clamp. Then Exeggutor vs Cloyster. Kaz goes Exeggutor predicting Sleep Powder. And he lands the sleep on Snorlax. Then Genesis goes Rhydon into Snorlax. Double switch. Kaz keeps on slamming. Paraslam on Exeggutor and Kaz puts Egg in Hyper Beam range. Eventually they trade. Chansey Thunderwaves Snorlax. Zapdos and Snorlax respectively are sacrificed. Then Chansey vs Snorlax and Genesis goes Rhydon so he can play around self-destruct. Kaz uses Surf instead. Outstanding play. Tauros vs Snorlax, crit Body Slam and full paralysis. Kaz goes Jolteon on predicted Hyper Beam, risky play, no crit. Next Kaz goes for damage, Thunderbolt. So he's looking for the knockout with Jolteon. Turn 39, Genesis pulls back. He goes Chansey and Kaz uses Double Kick, another wonderful prediction by Kaz, gets the crit. Then Alakazam comes in and Kaz doesn't use Thunder Wave. He sacrifices Snorlax, and I hate to say this, but I don't agree. Which is somewhat harsh to say after such a great comeback, but you don't turn down sure things. So Alakazam vs Tauros, Kaz doesn't use Hyper Beam, playing around Recover. Then Tauros is fully paralyzed, so Alakazam beats Tauros. Jolteon takes out Chansey, then Tauros vs Jolteon. Kaz doesn't go Cloyster, he stays in and he gets the crit. So Kaz wins the game, and this could have been bad without the crit, resulting in either a win for Genesis in case of a crit, or a tight game after Cloyster's explosion. Game 3, Jinx vs Starmie. Then Snorlax vs Tauros. Reflect Snorlax on both sides. Kaz goes Exeggutor on predicted rest. Very nice. Then he puts Alakazam in front of Jinx. So maybe looking to spread more paralysis. No, he makes a double switch to Exeggutor, now threatening sleep on Chansey. Kaz plays safe, he doesn't punish the switch to Jinx. He is fine with a free Body Slam. Tauros paraslams Exeggutor, Stun Spore misses, Hyper Beam, and Exeggutor goes down. Chansey Thunder Waves Snorlax, then Genesis burns one rest turn. Jinx wakes up. Kaz's Snorlax doesn't move, so Genesis wakes up. Then Sleep Powder on Jinx. Kaz uses Rest and Genesis goes Snorlax. Exeggutor takes the damage. Genesis tries to predict Explosion, which doesn't happen. So Kaz has a free switch to Tauros and Genesis goes Chansey, but it's in Hyper Beam range. So Genesis goes Snorlax. Hyper Beam misses. Anyway, Tauros beats Snorlax and gets damaged. Kaz sacrifices Exeggutor. Alakazam Thunder Waves Tauros. Genesis didn't go for the safe play, switch to Chansey, simply because he didn't want to allow a double switch. Tauros beats Snorlax through paralysis, then Kaz goes Tauros and Genesis gets another knockout. So Alakazam vs Chansey, Genesis cripples Alakazam. And he goes Zapdos. Crit repack, then Genesis has the better bird and a paralyzed 100% HP Chansey, so he cuts the disadvantage. 1 game to 2. Great comeback led by Zapdos. Game 4, Alakazam lead on both sides. Kaz goes Exeggutor. He gets the sleep. Then he has Feastlax vs Reflex Snorlax, so he goes Cloyster. Genesis has Starmie. Next, Alakazam and Starmie trade paralysis, and I'm not sure Genesis likes this trade. Genesis goes Snorlax, Cloyster is down to 53%, and Genesis pulls back. So Cloyster uses Clamp. Resulting in Alakazam vs Starmie. Full paralysis, Starmie is knocked out. Snorlax crits Cloyster, no Paraslam. So Kaz uses Explosion and Tauros takes out Snorlax. Exeggutor vs Alakazam. Kaz plays around Hyper Beam Exeggutor. This is Egg Bomb instead, rare move. Kaz goes Exeggutor, threatening Explosion. Genesis goes Alakazam. Triple switch by Kaz. So he goes Zapdos. Zapdos vs Alakazam, terrific sequence. So Alakazam goes down 5-on-3. Zapdos Thunder Waves Chansey, then Alakazam. Thunder Wave predicting Exeggutor. Alakazam puts Exeggutor in Hyper Beam range. Then Exeggutor speed tie. Genesis wins it, but Kaz has too much material. Chansey is lucky and it survives Zapdos. So Alakazam again. Explosion takes care of Alakazam. Then Snorlax trades for Tauros. Finally, Zapdos sets things up for Tauros and Kaz is the first player to reach the Grand Finals 3 times. Chanseyless Masterclass. Unfortunately, every time as the winner of the losers bracket. Nobody has ever been there in the Grand Finals more than once, so you don't need me to tell you one more word. Genesis7, tremendous run. Right now it's easy to say that he needed to play more aggressively, to take more risks, with more bravado. But after a podium finish, you don't care about the happenings of a single series, you just enjoy the moment. Great week for Cloyster and electric types, especially Zapdos. Rhydon barely showed up. So thanks for watching and see you again for the grand finals.